Oh, oh, Om Sahanao Avatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Okay, over the past 4 weeks, we have covered the basics. Now, we begin a deeper journey into the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gītā. From today, our true spiritual journey begins. So I would request you to take a deep breath, calm your mind, and open your heart. Because what you are about to hear holds powerful truth. And in today's session, we are going to cover the journey of the soul, which we say Jeev Atma, and we will talk about Brahman, pure consciousness, and the relation between the two. Once I visited Gaumukh, the very source of the holy river Ganga. I filled a small jar with just 1 liter of her sacred waters. The water in the jar looked no different from the flowing river. It had the same purity, the same clarity, the same divine touch. Now consider this. Is the water in the jar different from the river? No. Is it less sacred? No. Is it separate in essence? Not at all. Only its volume is limited. In the same way, you and I, the individual soul, what we are called Jiva, are not different in the nature from the supreme consciousness, which we call Brahman. We are a spark of the same divine fire, a drop from the same vast ocean. The difference is only in expression. We are covered by a body, a mind, and an ego. Bhagavad Gita, verse number 7 from chapter 15 says, the living beings in this world are my eternal fragmental parts. So the soul is eternal and divine, like the Ganga water in the jar. It is not separate in essence, only appears separate in form. Now, I dropped a handful of dust into the jar. The water turned muddy. Did the water itself become impure? No, it was only covered. In the same way, our inner self, the Atman, never becomes impure. It is ever pure, ever luminous, ever free. But it gets covered by the dust of desires, which we call calm, ignorance, which we call avidya, ego, which we call ahankar, attachment and fear. These form what we call the causal body or karan sharir. This is why we forget our true divine nature and we feel weak, broken, and limited. Bhagavad Gītā, verse number 15 from chapter 5 says, the Lord does not take the sins or merits of anyone. Knowledge is veiled by ignorance, and that is why beings are deluded. So our soul is not sinful, it is only veiled by ignorance. Now the question is, how do I make the water pure again? Now I'm talking back the water in the jar. I must remove the dust. I do not need to change the water. In the same way, our spiritual life is about removing what we are not adding something new, because we are already divine, we are already free, we are already full, but we have forgotten. And that is the problem due to ignorance. In Bhagavad Gītā, verse number 5 of chapter 6 says, lift yourself by yourself. Do not degrade yourself. You are your own friend and your own enemy. So the path is inner. The path is cleansing, not accumulating. How do we purify the inner jar then? Through Jnana Yoga, right knowledge. Through Karma Yoga, selfless service. Through Bhakti Yoga, devotion and surrender. Through Dhyana Yoga, which is meditation and silence. By these paths, we slowly remove the dust and the divine self shines naturally. You are not a broken being seeking salvation. You are the eternal self, already whole, WHOLE. Moksha is simply the realization of who you truly are. You are divine being. temporarily covered by forgetfulness. Bhagavad Gītā, verse number 20 in chapter 10, Bhagavan says, O Arjun, I am the self seated in the hearts of all beings. Therefore, the journey is not outward, it is inward. Return to your true self. Just as water naturally flows back to the Ganga, let your soul return to its divine source, which is Brahman. Or, as rivers merge into the ocean, let your limited self merge into Brahman, your true nature. This quotation is inspired by the Upanishadic metaphor, also echoed in Gita chapter, verse number 15 of chapter 2. Now let us see what are the key teachings we are going to learn from so far what we discussed. Number one, we are not different from Brahman. Number two, the soul is pure. Number three, spiritual practice is purification. Number four, self-realization is your birthright. And number five, we are already what we are seeking. Therefore, we are not the dust. We are not the jar. We are the sacred water, ever pure, ever free. Cleanse the mind, awaken the soul, and know we and Brahman are one. Tat Tvam Asi means thou art that, or that you are. Now we will try to understand what is moksha. Generally, people, when we talk about moksha, means releasing, especially from the cycle of birth and death. And it is the ultimate goal of all human beings. We don't want to stay here. We don't want to come back again to this planet. It is the state we all deeply desire to reach. But when we hear the word moksha, it can feel confusing or even frightening. Why? Because many of us mistakenly think moksha means death or something that ends our life. That is only a small part of the idea and a common misunderstanding. Actually, the word moksha is derived from the verb root munj, which means to free, to release, or to let go. And freedom is something every living being naturally seeks. Nobody wants to be trapped or bound by anything. Whenever we feel tied down by rules, expectations, or limitations, we instinctively resist and say, no, I don't want this. Because this is our nature. We want to be free. Now think about it. If someone forces you to do something, even if it is good for you, you feel restricted. You want to choose your own path, wake up when you want, live your life in peace without being disturbed or controlled. This desire for freedom is not wrong. Why? Because it is natural. It is a deep part of who we are. But here is where it gets very interesting and a little tricky. We often think freedom means doing whatever our mind desires. For example, if I want to eat, I eat. If I want to rest, I rest. That seems like freedom to us. But is it really true freedom? Our mind is very powerful. It is like a master controller in our life. The mind wants things and pushes us to act accordingly. Remember, if we follow the mind blindly, are we truly free? No. In reality, the mind becomes our master and we become its slave without realizing it. Therefore, true freedom is not doing whatever the mind wants, but the ability to say no to the mind. This means real freedom is not about fulfilling every desire, but about having control over our mind and desires. Now, even beyond that, true freedom means going beyond the mind entirely, transcending it. And what does that mean? Going beyond the mind. To go beyond the mind means to realize who we truly are. Beyond the body, beyond the thoughts, beyond the feelings. It means we are not merely the physical body. We nor the restless mind, nor even the intellect that reasons and judges. Imagine the mind, body, and intellect as vehicles or tools. Imagine the mind, body, and intellect as vehicles or tools. You are not the vehicle, you are the driver, the true self behind it all. For example, the body is like a light bulb, and the life force or consciousness is like electricity. The electricity makes the bulb shine, but electricity is not the bulb. When the bulb stops working, electricity still exists. Similarly, we are the consciousness and the body is just a temporary form. When we identify only with the body, we feel limited. I have a birthday and I will have a death day also. But if we know ourselves as the pure consciousness behind the body, then birth and death are only changes of form. not the end of our true self. The true self is described as Sat Chit Anand. Sat means eternal existence, unchanging and infinite. Chit means pure consciousness, awareness beyond the mind's fluctuations. And what is Anand? Anand means bliss, a deep and lasting happiness that is not dependent on external things. Therefore, moksha is the realization of this truth. Knowing ourselves as Sat Chit Anand, free from all limitations of body, mind, and intellect. The reason we suffer is because we mistake ourselves for the body, mind, and intellect. This identification causes sorrow. In Sanskrit, shoka, and delusion in Sanskrit, moha, which are greatest enemies of right action and peace. In the Bhagavad Gita's first chapter, we see Arjun caught in sorrow and confusion. His situation shows us how we all get stuck in similar sorrow and delusion. This confusion causes wrong decisions and suffering. To achieve moksha, we must overcome sorrow and delusion through understanding and practice. This process is not imposed by scriptures as a burden. It is a natural goal for every living being. Moksha is not something imaginary or it is forced upon us. It is a natural and attainable state. Scriptures or the Vedas, they guide us with knowledge on how to prepare ourselves by perfecting our actions. Scriptures guide us with knowledge on how to prepare ourselves by perfecting our actions. Action is like a container in which raw metal is refined by fire. Similarly, our actions refine our mind and prepare us for freedom. But sorrow and delusion cloud our mind, leading us to wrong actions. Therefore, the first step on the spiritual path is to be aware of sorrow and delusion. And through knowledge and practice, gradually free ourselves from them. Now, to summarize, moksha means freedom, not death. Freedom is natural to all beings. No one wants to be bound or controlled. True freedom is freedom from the mind, not freedom to do whatever the mind desires. Real freedom is to transcend body, mind, and intellect and realize our true self as Sat Chit Anand. Sorrow and delusion are the root causes of bondage. Bondage, attachment. The Bhagavad Gītā teaches us how to overcome these through right knowledge and right action. Moksha is a natural goal of life, and the scriptures help us achieve it. This is the essence of moksha. It is not just a distant concept, but a living reality you can experience by seeking beyond what the mind presents and discovering your true nature. This journey is the highest purpose of our life. Now we will talk about a very important topic, from a single cell to the infinite cosmos. Let us begin by first observing something simple yet sacred. A single living cell in our body. A single living cell in our body, it is tiny, so small that we can only see it under a microscope. Yet this small cell is alive. It breathes, digests, reproduces, communicates, and contributes to the greater body. Now you may wonder, what does this tiny cell have to do with the vast sky, the stars, the galaxies, and Brahman, the supreme reality? Let us now walk step by step through this sacred mystery. Just as a cell is a part of the entire human body, it serves a function in harmony with all other cells. A heart cell beats to pump blood. A brain cell transmits signals. A skin cell protects, though small. Every cell holds the complete blueprint of the body in the form of DNA. This is called holographic or fractal design, where the whole is mirrored in the part. Thus, the cell is not independent, it cannot survive alone. It takes nourishment from the body. It communicates with others. It knows its dharma, its duty. It lives, it serves, and it dies for the whole. This is seva. What is seva means? Selfless service. Now, we are like that tiny cell in our body. Our body is like the greater society, and society is like the earth, and earth is within the solar system, the solar system in the galaxy, and so on endlessly. Just as one cell reflects the pattern of the body, each individual soul, Jeev, is a spark of the infinite consciousness that pervades the entire cosmos. You are not separate from the whole, you are an expression of it. In Bhagavad Gītā, verse number 20, chapter 10, Bhagavan says, I am the self, O Arjun, seated in the heart of all beings. That means the divine resides within you. Just as the DNA of the whole body is encoded in one tiny cell, the essence of the universe, consciousness, light, and intelligence is encoded in you. And like the body takes care of each cell, the universe too is constantly guiding, sustaining, and purifying each soul through karma, experience, and grace. And like the body takes care of each cell, the universe also is constantly guiding, sustaining, and purifying each soul through karma, experience, and grace. The cosmos, the galaxies, the earth, all forms is not the final truth. It is the visible manifestation, what we can feel, what we can see. But what gives it life? What makes the star burn? What causes the mind to think and the heart to feel? And the answer is Brahman, the infinite, formless, timeless, supreme reality. Mundaka Upanishad 2.1.1 says, as from a blazing fire, sparks of similar form issue forth, so do countless beings arise from the imperishable. The entire cosmos is like a body, and Brahman is the consciousness that enlivens it. Just as a body is made of trillions of cells, the cosmos is made of countless jivas, individual souls, atoms, stars, and galaxies. But Brahman is not merely another object within the cosmos. Brahman is the substrate, the one in which the entire cosmos arises, exists, and dissolves. Important. Brahman is the substrate, the one in which the entire cosmos arises, exists, and dissolves. Chandogya Upanishad 6.8.7 Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art. You are not different from the Supreme Brahman. We already discussed that. The same essence that pervades the stars, the oceans, and the sun dwells in your heart. Therefore, just as a cell contains the code of the whole body, you, O soul, contain the code of Brahman, DNA. Your inner nature is pure, eternal, and divine. You are not the body, not the mind, but the self that watches them all. Now that you know this truth, live like a sacred cell of the universal body. And what we have to do? Serve selflessly. Remain in harmony. Purify your inner nature. Meditate daily. This awareness dissolves the ego, the root of suffering, and awakens unity with all existence. Now, let us see this picture here. Now, in this picture, we have got two Om. One is this outer Om, and one is this inner Om. Now, this outer Om we are referring to Brahman, pure consciousness, and this inner Om, we are referring to self, and it is at the same time pointing to outer circle Om, which means outer Om and inner Om is exactly the same, like the water, Ganga's river's water in a jar. Now we will talk about these two Ohms. Now here, if you notice, we are trying to explain you the relationship between the Om inside and the Om outside using a sheets or circles, layers. It does not mean physically our body is like this. We are just, it's a way of explanation, explaining. The innermost, this Om is the subtlest, and the physical body is the gross. This is what you need to understand. And we will talk in the future lessons to explain all these things in more in detail. Now, as I said, we are going to talk about the outer circle Om and the inner circle Om. In the outer circle Om, it symbolizes the, sorry, this is the center of the circle Om. It symbolizes the inner self, pure consciousness, Atman, which is Jeev Atma we are referring to. So first we are talking about inner self. This Om represents your true self, the divine essence or Atman, which is eternal, changeless, and always present within you. It is the core of your being, the observer behind all thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Spiritually, this Om is beyond time, space, and causality. The innermost silent witness, Sakshi, unaffected by the world. In Vedantic terms, it is Brahman dwelling within, the truth of who you are. Circle around it symbolizes life, body, or individual personality, but the central Om never changes regardless of what happens in life. It is like the still flame inside a lantern, untouched by the flickering winds outside. Now we are going to talk about the Om outside. It symbolizes the supreme reality, universal consciousness, Para Brahman. This Om signifies the transcendental divine, the source of all creation, the absolute reality that encompasses and pervades everything. It is beyond the individual, infinite, and the cause of the entire universe. This Om represents Ishwar or God, the cosmic intelligence that governs all universal laws. It is the omnipresent, means all pervading. Omniscient means all knowing. And omnipotent means all powerful, divine, beyond the individual's body mind circle. This Om includes Maya, illusion. Maya is illusion, creation, sustenance, and dissolution. All divine play happens in this larger field. Like the vast sky, surrounding a soap bubble. The bubble exists within it, but the sky is unaffected. The Om within and the Om beyond are ultimately one. As I mentioned initially, the water in the jar and the water of Ganga river is exactly the same. The journey of life is to realize that the divine within, which is we call Atman, is not separate from the supreme Om, which is Brahman. This is the goal of all spiritual living, to merge the individual consciousness with the universal consciousness. Now, we will I will try to explain something about Brahman. Brahman is the supreme reality. It is pure consciousness, limitless, formless, eternal, and untouched by change, nirguna. It is not a person, not an object, not even a thing you can point to. It is that which allows everything to exist and be known. Just like space allows all objects to exist within it, Brahman is the substratum that supports and pervades the entire universe. Brahman is not something far away. It is the very essence of your own being. It is not something you become. It is what you already are, but covered by layers of ignorance, which we call avidya. Therefore, it is absolutely correct. Brahman is pure consciousness. Brahman is the foundation, the eternal, formless, all pervading reality. It is beyond all layers. It is described as eternal, which means without beginning or end, infinite, beyond all limits, unchanging, not affected by time or space, all pervading, present in everything, pure consciousness, beyond form and qualities. Now, we will see the hierarchy of Brahman in simple terms. Number one, Brahman. That is the ultimate substratum layer, the subtlest, formless, eternal consciousness. Everything arises in and from Brahman. Very important point to note. Brahman is the subtlest, formless, eternal consciousness. Everything arises in and from Brahman. That's the top layer. Number two, Akash, which we call space. The first element, Mahabhut, to emerge from Brahman through Maya. It is subtle, but not as subtle as Brahman. So that's the second layer, you could say. Number third, then come Vayu, which is air. Then comes Agni, which is fire. Then comes Apaha, which is water. Then comes Prithvi, which is earth. Each grosser than the previous. So which means Brahman is the subtlest, then the next subtlest is Akash, then is Vayu, then Agni, then Apaha, then Prithvi. So Prithvi is the most gross. From these emerge minds, bodies, objects, words, time, and causation. Now let us summarize. And by the way, we will talk about what I mentioned here in detail in our future lessons. So to summarize, yes, Brahman is Nirgun, without qualities, Nirakar, without form, and Avyakt, unmanifest. It is not a thing among things, but being itself, Sat Chit Anand. Sat means pure existence, Chit means pure awareness, Anand means pure bliss. Brahman is subtler than Akash. Akash is the first creation in the cosmic order. Everything else, time, objects, thoughts, unfolds within Akash. Now, think of Brahman as the pure light. Akash is the first visible ray through the prism. All other colors, elements, experiences come from that first ray, Akash. But the light itself remains untouched beyond pure, which is Brahman. Now we will talk about Atman. Atman is your true inner self. It is not different from Brahman. The difference is only in appearance, not in reality. If you remember the first example I was talking, jar, the water in a jar is like you, and the water in the Ganga river is Brahman. Just as one space appears as the space inside a pot and another as a space in a room, but both are truly the same space. Atman and Brahman are one and the same. However, when the pure self Atman becomes associated with the body, mind, and impressions, it seems to become an individual, a limited self. This limited self is what we call Jeev Atman. Atman is that same reality reflected in the heart of each being, Jeev. The word reflected in spiritual teachings means something higher and infinite appearing in a limited and individual form. Just like the sun is shining in many different water pots, though the source is one, the reflections appear many. When we say Atman, is that same reality reflected in the heart of each being, we are describing something very subtle but very important. Let us take the help of this simple example. Imagine there is one bright sun in the sky. Now, suppose there are many pots of clear water placed on the ground. If you look into each pot, what will you see? You will see the sun reflected in each pot. It may appear as if there are many suns, one in each pot. But you and I both know that the real sun is the only one in the sky. The many reflected suns are just appearances. In the same way, Brahman, the supreme, infinite reality, is like the one sun. This Brahman, when it appears in the mind and heart of an individual being, is called Atman. But remember, it is not that there are many different Brahmans or many different Atmans. There is only one reality, but it appears as many because it is reflected in the minds of all beings. So the word reflected here means the infinite reality appearing within the individual as the sense of I am, or the inner self. It is not that the reflection is different from the original, but because of the limiting medium like water in a pot or our mind in and body, it appears as though there is a separate self inside each person. In truth, that inner light you feel, the one that knows you are alive, aware, and present, that is nothing but the reflection of the Supreme Self, just like the sun shines in many mirrors. The one Supreme Self shines in the hearts of all beings. But here is the mystery. The reflection shines only if the water is still and clean. In the same way, the pure and quiet mind reflects the Atman more clearly. That's why we are always talking Chitta Shuddhi and Chit Ekagrata. Now let us see this example. Let us say you're looking into a still lake on a clear night. The full moon above is perfectly reflected in the water. But if the water is disturbed or dirty, the reflection becomes shaky or unclear. In the same way, when the mind is calm, pure, and meditative, it becomes a clear mirror to reflect the Atman. When the mind is restless or clouded, the reflection is unclear, and we forget our true nature. Therefore, remember, you are not the reflection. You are the original light. But until you realize that, the reflection helps you turn within and discover your true self. Now, let us see the key teachings from what we have understood today from today's topic. Number one, reflected means appearing in a limited form while coming from an unlimited source. That is reflection. The Atman in you is not separate from Brahman. It is Brahman seen through your individual nature. The mind is the mirror or water surface. It must be made calm and pure to see the reflection clearly. All beings have the same reality within. There is unity behind all diversity. A spiritual practice like meditation, self inquiry, devotion helps us realize we are not the reflection, but the original light. Do not mistake the pot for the sun. Do not believe that you are just a body or a passing emotion. You are the light that shines behind the eyes, beneath the thoughts, and within the heart. That light is reflected now. But one day, by grace and effort, you will know you are that, or that you are Tat Tvam Asi. Now, I had given one exercise, and that was about what qualities do you believe God has? I received only two responses, and I have compiled this document of 7 pages based on that. And I have provided the link at the end of this document, which I discussed today, uh, which is our discourse on 26th of June, 2025. Everyone has got that. At the end of the document, you will find the link of this document. But I'm trying to summarize what you are. We are Jeev Atman, and we now know the qualities of God, or what God, when we say God, what type of qualities we think He is having. And if we want to become a God like, or a jar of water in the jar, if you want to make it pure, this is what you need to do, or we need to do. You aspire to be like a God man, but the powerful truth is you already are God man. All that is holding you back are your inner patterns and past conditioning, known as vasanas. Once you begin to let go of these, your real nature will start to shine through. That real you is not separate from the divine. It is the essence of the great truth. Tat Tvam Asi. You are that, or that you are. The very simple way to clear all the garbage from your causal body, Karan Sharir. If you want to free yourself from deep rooted negativity and move closer to your highest self, start by embracing the qualities of the divine: purity, love, truth, compassion, patience, and selflessness. These are the keys. When you live with these virtues in your heart, your inner self becomes lighter, clearer, and more aligned with your true purpose. It is simple, powerful, and life changing. Choose to grow in godlike qualities, and you will find peace, clarity, and spiritual freedom. Take time today to explore the documents and listen to the audios and videos shared on June 26th, which is today. They are there to support and guide you on your journey inward, a journey of remembering who you truly are. And I will conclude here now. Om Purnamadaha Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.